this is going to trigger some men. They don't date women out of love. They date us so that they're not perceived as being gay.
This is the most spot-on thing I've ever read. Men settle where there is peace, and women bring peace where they're treated well. So it takes effort from both sides.
Every time I go on a date with an American guy, he tells me, I will never date American women. I start thinking, why American women are so evil? Nobody wants to date them. What's wrong with them? I know what's wrong. They have high standards and they want to go to third world countries. They want to seduce girls with a $100 bill and a pack of bread. Just want her to serve him for this. Because these girls, they don't know that people can make $10,000 a month in the States. That $100 for him is nothing. It's a chocolate pie with fucking Milky Way. And they exercise their power on people who are less fortunate in life because of their government and their economy. And every time I hear that from an American man, I say, ooh, you know what? I think it's time. I need to feed my cat. Bye-bye then.
So all the men from my previous post saying that they have found peace by being alone and they're not trying to date because they just want peace. Are you trying to say that we don't bring peace to your life? I have to disagree. I do not think that if a woman that you so desired was available to you, you would choose peace over commitment, sex, good meals with conversation, and things like that. So I'm going to call your bluff because I don't think that's true. This, by the way, is not police lights. This is some kind of flashing light in a parking lot. I'm not quite sure what it is. But anyway, again, calling your bluff. Okay?
Guys get friend-zoned, but girls get fuck-zoned. A boy stops talking to us suddenly after he gets a girlfriend, or starts ghosting us after we reject his first move. A friendship that we valued, we thought mattered, if only just a little to him, turned out not to matter at all. But in the end, we're the bad guys. We're the ones who lead the good guys on. Of course, we should just expect that's what you always want. We should just expect that friendship is never as valuable as a twist of our hand. They got friend-zoned. They only lost another girl, another rejection. But we lost a friend, someone we thought was worth more. We lost a friend.
There's a special flavor of desperation reserved for the woman who realizes every quality man she rejected didn't just leave, he upgraded. The man she friend-zoned is engaged. The one she ghosted bought a house. The one she wasn't feeling is feeling great, several tax brackets up. She didn't lose one man. She lost the entire roster, all at once, and the scoreboard finally lit up. If you enjoy a good karmic balance sheet, subscribe to Alpha Reloaded. We do the accounting.
We're heading to a world where we're going to have an awful lot of single people in their 40s, an awful lot. And the reality is, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, is that's going to be fine for men because they can have babies until they drop dead.
Yeah, and they're going to go with, they're always going to go for younger women.
And they're going to go for younger women, and they'll have more money, and that'll be fine. And there'll be this sort of lost generation of women in the middle. And that's not going to be good. And the women in the comments are going to absolutely hate me for saying that. But I think it's a reality, and you need to wake up. Because if you don't wake up, it's going to get too late.
I'm sorry, but you can't say you want a good man and then speak about men like they're the problem. Because something shifted some time ago, and it's not in a good way. There was a time where feminism actually stood for equality, fairness, respect, opportunity, and it was needed. But now I'm seeing a lot of messaging that sounds more like resentment and trying to diminish men. They're talking about men are useless, use them, all men are the same, we don't need them. I've even had girls in my comments say that it's cute that I see men as human because apparently they aren't. Like, what? And yet, in the same breath, I hear women say they want to get married. With who? These animals? What is wrong with us? You cannot build something real with someone you don't respect. That's not empowerment. That's just creating a bigger divide. We need each other. And if we keep pushing this constant tension and unrealistic expectations on each other, all we're doing is making dating worse for everyone involved and creating more broken homes.
Branch swinging was the whole strategy. Never let go of one man until the next. Better branch was in hand. It works until you reach for a branch that isn't there and discover you let go of the last solid one a long time ago. Now she's free-falling through a canopy of men who all remember being treated as temporary. The branches don't catch the woman who spent years proving she'd drop them the second something shinier appeared.
Girl finds person. Person and girl go on a couple of dates. Things go really well. Person goes out of town for a little bit. Girl and person keep communicating. The idea is that they will see each other when person comes back. Person gets back into town. Person calls girl and said, I would love to see you this week. Girl says, I would also love to see you. Let me know how your week goes and we'll schedule something. Days go by. Girl texts person saying, hi, the week is quickly getting filled up. Do you want to lock down a time when we're both free? Person does not respond. Girl knows that person is not the best texter, so person, may get back to girl later, and girl's okay with that. So girl waits a couple more days. Person still does not respond. Girl begins to crash out just a little bit because girl is very tired of being left on red, especially when there was no reason to indicate that anything was wrong. Girl sends voice note to person saying, hey, it's okay if you don't want to see me anymore, but can you just let me know? Girl is waiting for a reply.
The quality man's glow-up is the receipt she can't stop scrolling. He took the rejection, said thank you, and used the freed-up time to build the exact life she now wants access to. He's not pining. He's not plotting revenge. He's just busy, happy, and dating someone who recognized his value before it was trending. Living well isn't even his revenge. It's just his Tuesday, and the revenge is a side effect.
My TikTok is smashed now because I was talking about the problems in dating in America, how hard it is for people here, and how people just don't like each other. And I feel like, the biggest things that I heard from people were that politics make it worse, social media, and feminism. And all those things make it really bad for people, and people blaming those three things for having no good time in dating. And I get it, I think it's affecting other countries as well, and I had a really hard time in Australia. So I just feel like, one of the things people could do here is just, communicate more what your expectations are, how you feel our roles has to be, because people just losing that gist of how the dating should be, they just don't know what to do anymore, and hopefully that can solve it a little.
The dating pool is so trash. As a woman who is in a long-term relationship, I get why women are frustrated. I want to talk about this overarching topic that you may not know that there's a word for it, but there is a word for it, but you probably have experienced it. It's called negging. Have you guys heard of this? Negging is basically when somebody uses insults or anything that's negative about you or pokes fun at you as a means of flirting. Like we're fucking 5 years old on the playground. Get your life. This entire concept is so weird to me because I just don't see how that takes you to the next level. How is that getting us over the finish line? How is that getting us to the bedroom? Is this your foreplay? Because I want out.
Where did all the good men go? They went to the women who didn't make them audition. The good men didn't vanish into thin air. They got selected by women smart enough to recognize a stable, high-value man isn't a backup plan. He's the whole plan. The shortage she's describing isn't a shortage of men. It's a shortage of men willing to wait around for her to finish sampling the menu.
Something I've observed in my matchmaking business is that women who are smart, independent, and successful tend to struggle the most in their dating lives. And I believe this is because of hypergamy, which basically means that women tend to want to date up. They want someone who's superior to them financially and in status and in IQ. And so what happens is the more money a woman makes and the more independent she becomes, the more her dating pool shrinks, because the pool of men that she is going to be attracted to is going to be smaller. But the problem is men date based on a different criteria. Men are not dating women based on their wealth. They're not dating women based on their IQ. They're dating them based on, is she going to be a good mother to my kids? Is she nurturing? Does she make me feel like a man? Is she attractive? And so you have this imbalance. And it becomes a bigger problem as women get older, because then they start competing with women who are 5, 10, 15 plus years younger than them. And again, because men are not dating off the same values and criteria, it makes it harder for them to find a mate. And I think this stems from a few different things. One being feminism. You know, the road to hell is paved with good intention. I don't think feminism is a bad thing, but I do think it's unsurprising that the more independent women have become, the more childless and single they've stayed. And also the destruction of the family nucleus. As divorce rates started to rise, you had more moms telling their daughters, don't ever put yourself in a position where you have to depend on a man. And like, was the juice worth the squeeze? Let me know what you think in the comments. And follow me for more. Bye!
So now she's on the apps hunting for the exact archetype she used to swipe past. And the apps are a graveyard. The quality men aren't on there. They got pulled out of circulation by women who locked them down early, or they checked out of the market entirely. She's fishing in a pond the good fish abandoned, wondering why nothing bites. The bait was fine. The fish just have better water now.
Just in case you've been wondering why you don't see a lot of young women going on dates or dating around, so to speak, I'm going to give you a play-by-play of a really common conversation that I've seen on my own phone and also on my friends' phones on apps like Hinge and stuff. So it starts out and the guy will text you and he'll be like, you know, hey, I think you're really pretty. Sometimes I don't even say that. Sometimes I just say hi, you know, and it's like, and then, you know, you'll say hi back or some sort of greeting. And if they complimented you, you'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, you know, whatever. And then the guy will be like, okay, so, you know, when are you free? And then you say, oh, I'm free Friday. And he says, cool, me too. And you're like, cool. And then he'll say, okay, so what do you want to do? What did you have in mind? What are you thinking? Who are you talking to? Because it's not me. I'm not planning this fucking date, bro. Like, you are planning it. Right? This is a dating app for dates. You have to plan the date. Like, I'm not planning the date. Like, I did not text you first and say, like, hey, I think you're really cool. Let's go to this place. Like, you texted me, asked what day I was free. And now for some reason you're stuck at the second step and you think that I'm going to find an event and find a restaurant to go to and find whatever and send it to you. Like, okay, princess. Like, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. And it's like, if this guy can't even figure out how to make a dinner reservation or find an event on fucking Eventbrite or something, or a little, you know, indie band to see, I don't know. Like, I live in New York, so it's like there's so many events and all the time. So these guys have no excuse. Then why would I want to hang out with them? Why would I want to hang out with someone who needs their hand held like that? No thanks.
I see so many women on TikTok, of course they're like liberal, complaining like, oh my god, dating's so hard in the city, all men are trash, all men are garbage, blah blah. It's like, do you think if you've been dating and you're in your late 30s and every man has had an issue with you or not wanting you, do you think at some point the common denominator might be you? Maybe you're the problem. Maybe it's not like the 4.5 billion men on the planet. Trust me when I say there are thousands of people suitable for you. I think it might be you. You might be, if you cannot obtain a partner, you might be nuts. Also, I don't understand this thing, like, it's so hard to date in the city. I understand the challenges of the city. Where would you rather be? The cornfields where there's 5 people to date? What, do you want to go to an Amish community? I'm so confused. In the city, you have literally the most amount of options. I don't understand. What's better? What's a better option? I don't understand these things.
Watch the standards graph collapse in real time. At 25, it was 6'2", 6 figures, and a jawline. At 35, it's employed and breathing, and even that's negotiable now. The market repriced her inventory without asking permission, the way markets always do to anyone who overvalued the goods and held too long. Desperation isn't lowering standards. It's the market lowering them for her.
Just remember that a man that won't date you, when his dream girl comes in a month, 2 months, he'll probably want to get married. Because when a man sees you and he's like, that's my girl, there's a sense of urgency and he will do whatever it takes to make sure you're his, because he doesn't want the opportunity to pass. So if you find that a man isn't ready for you, it's not because of the timing, in my opinion. It's because it's just, he's not ready for you. And he might still want to do whatever he has to do and be like, oh, you know what? I'll keep her just because she's a good girl, but I know that she's going to stay around. pardon me?
This is my proof that I think that the population is gonna slowly decline, because I am in a room of like 100 men, and not one of them has approached. I just think men this day and age don't want to date.
The desperation hardens into acceptance only when she realizes there's no recall button. The quality men aren't coming back to a market they graduated from. They're not even thinking about her. They moved on so completely that she's grieving a relationship that, to him, ended the moment she treated him as optional. You can't reclaim a man who already filed you under lesson learned.
So half of men from the ages of 18 to 25 have never asked a woman out in person. And more than 70% of young women are waiting or desperately wanting men to approach them. So obviously we've got a huge problem here. And the fear of rejection, we hear a lot about rejection, but what about the fear of the what if? Don't you think that should be bigger than the fear of rejection?
Recognize value before it's trending, not after it's gone. The quality men who moved on didn't get lucky. They got chosen by people who saw clearly while everyone else was sampling. For men, become so valuable that being passed over is the other person's loss to grieve, never yours. Build first. Get selected by the ones with vision,